Alright guys, so today I'm fixing to get the block together for my Wago over there. Right now I'm getting ready to notch the block. I went to Harbor Freight today and got an electric die grinder. So got some bits for it as well. So what I just did for now is I went ahead and marked with 2 lines with a Sharpie where I need to kind of notch it out. I just kind of placed the rod down in there and marked on either side of it. So I'm going to go ahead and notch that out with a die grinder along each cylinder on each side. So once I do that, I'll hopefully keep the rod from hitting on the edge of the block right there, since these are the bigger H-beam rods. They tend to hit on these. So most of the time, I guess, with the D-series, when you put H-beam rods in there, you got to notch them, or else they will rub on the inside of the cylinder right here. So that's what I'm going to do for right now. Go ahead and get the die grinder set up and get this notched out. Just got the block notched out. I didn't really film any of it since I don't have anyone to help me film right now. So I just went ahead and got it done, and hopefully this is enough so that the rods don't fit, but I really won't find out until I get it all put together and then just make sure it turns over okay. But I'm pretty confident that I took out enough and everything should clear just fine. So I guess we'll see, but first I'm gonna take it outside and hose it off really good to get all the metal shavings out of there. So I wanna make sure I get all that cleaned out, obviously. Then once I get done with that, I'm going to start on the pistons and rods. So I'm going to get all the pistons attached to the rods and start gapping the rings. And then once I get all that done, then I can start putting the bearings in, start assembling everything, and then just checking to make sure nothing's hitting on each other. And it should be good to go. So I already started to put one of these together. I got the oil rings on there and the first bottom ring right here. And what I did to measure this one, I just like we did on Charlie's, just pushed them down in there, and I was just using my angle grinder to grind off the ends there, and then I just measured them with a feeler gauge. But before I finish up all the rest, I'm gonna go ahead and put the little C-clips in right here to hold the pin in there, because I forgot to do that, and might as well do that now before I try to get all the rings on there. I'm just gonna try to use these same pliers that Charlie made. He sharpened the ends of them so they would fit into the ends of these C-clips right here. So hopefully it'll work for me. There it goes. Oh, not quite. Dude, these things are a bitch. Oh, there we go. Got that side. I just got to do the other side. Our little homemade snap ring pliers worked pretty good. I managed to get them all in, so that was actually really easy. And I went ahead and put all the oil rings as well. So right now I'm gonna finish measuring all the rings. Like I said, I'm going 20 thousandths on the bottom ring and 18 thousandths on the top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get all those rings gapped, get them on all the pistons, and yeah, should be good to go. Then I can slide them in. And another thing I didn't mention, when you put the rod on the piston, you have to be careful which way it goes, because there's these little tabs that catch on the rod bearings right here on the inside right there. Yeah, right there, got it focused on them. Those 2 little tabs need to be facing the exhaust side in the block, and the piston also has to go in a certain way. So you want to make sure that you got those on the right way as well. On these Vitara pistons, the arrow points to the tranny. So I just have to keep that in mind when I connected the rod to the piston. Alright, so I got all the ring gaps good, and I went ahead and put all the rings on all the pistons, and I went ahead and windowed them as well. So what that is, I'm pretty sure we explained this in Charlie's too. It's where the gap in the ring actually sits on the piston, and Brent just helped me out with this. So we just have the first gap here on the top ring, then the second gap on the second ring right there, and then this is the first oil ring gap right there, and then the bottom oil ring gap. So he just told me to go to the corners like this, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I got all those set, and now I just need to put the ring compressor on them and lube up the cylinders with some oil, and then pop these guys in, and then I can flip it over and start getting the crank together. Got all the pistons in. So what I'm going to do right now is take all of the main and rod bearings, and I'm just going to go ahead and spray them off with some brake cleaner, get any residue that might be on there off, and then I'm also going to get a paper towel and get some brake cleaner on that as well, and clean off any of these surfaces because oil, like this one right here, has some oil on it. So I want to make sure I clean all that out of there because you don't want any oil in between this and the bearing. Nothing slippery because you want that bearing to not go anywhere. And once I get everything cleaned off, I'm going to set the main bearings in right here on this bottom half and put the rod bearings in this half of the rod right here, set the crank down in there, and then just kind of put everything together from there and make sure it kind of fits together right, make sure everything seems fine. Normally, like on my hatch, I did plasti gauge all the bearing clearances. So like once you put the bearings on, put a little thing of plasti gauge and measure the clearance in between the bearing and like the crank, and then the clearance between the bearing and the rods as well. But like on Charlie's, we didn't even bother with that, and everything I have is standard size anyway, so I'm just gonna kind of YOLO it and just not plasti gauge it because I'm sure it'll be fine. But I guess if not, then that's my mistake. But so far, all the motors we've put together, if you just order standard size bearings on a standard size motor, everything should just fit together. So once I get everything cleaned off, I will get the crank in there. Got all the rods torqued down, got the main bearing carriage thingy just tightened down. Right now it's not torqued yet, we're just spinning it to make sure nothing's hitting, and it seems to be good, everything's clearing. Yeah. So now we're just going to go ahead and torque this down and start putting it back together. I got new main seals for the crankshaft, so got the new oil pump, got to throw all that shit on there. Alright, so I'm also replacing the main seal on mine, so I just got to get this old one out real quick, just like that. So we got everything torqued down, got the oil pump on there. This is an Orbit oil pump that I got from Brent, so everything's hooked up, got the oil pickup, and I put the main seal on there, got the new one from O'Reilly's. All I got to do now is put the pan on, and the bottom end is pretty much done. I mean, I still need to put like the pulley on and some other things, but it's pretty much done once I get the pan on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip the pan on real quick and then flip it over, and I shouldn't need to get to the bottom of the motor from this point anymore. Alright guys, I just got the block back together. So like I said, all I really need to do now is put the crank pulley on, and the block is pretty much complete. I was gonna plug this hole right here because this is for the, like, it's a factory catch can or something, and so it just pretty much catches extra oil or oil vapors and then just kind of returns them down into the block right there, I believe. But I know you can plug this hole if you plan on running an external catch can setup like I do on the hatch, but I don't think I'm going to do that just yet, so I'll probably put this ugly little box back on for now. It should be fine. But yeah, block is pretty much all the way together. And by the way, I did get my flywheel. It's in this box right here, and the clutch, which is over here. So I did get these in actually pretty fast. I was surprised. So this is a stage 5 4-putt clutch. Should be plenty to hold the power. It's just an eBay one. This thing was like, let me think, like I think it was like 180 bucks for this clutch, and then like another 90 bucks for the new flywheel. So under 300 bucks for a new flywheel and a stage 5 clutch. So I'm not complaining about that. Sorry if this video is a little boring. I didn't really film a whole bunch like in detail. I just kind of wanted to get it done. But I mean, you guys get the idea. It's pretty similar to how we put Charlie's together. But I am gonna stop where I'm at tonight. I think I got a lot done, and I guess I'll see how far I get on it tomorrow.